Hey everyone, John Henry here from School of Trade. Today we're going to be taking a look at a long trade here on the euro. We're coming off of wedge rising support, and this is also a range that formed that's getting somewhat of a counter break. Now, what I mean by that is when you're going into a strong trend, in this case, it's been a nice strong bull trend since about 3:30 this morning. When you get a range formation or really any pattern formation, you want to try to stick with the trend, right? So we would really prefer to see this range break higher. It makes sense, right? We're in a bull sentiment. It should break higher in the long run, and that's kind of what we're looking for. In this case, because of it breaking down, it's going against the overall trend that is considered a counter break. And it looked really strong, right? We had some okay bearish candles through here, but then you get this guy right there. And that just kind of solidifies it. Lots and lots of sellers are going to jump in all over that, knowing that it's a relatively strong move, and that's a very strong candle. The problem is, it's still counter trend, right? You're going counter trend, you have rising support underneath us with a wedge bottom. Everything is kind of in the way, and that's not a scenario that you really want to find yourself in when you're going against this strong of a trend. So what does that tell us? Well, we know that sellers are trapped into this move. They're probably trapped in either from here or from here, but either way, we know that their stops are right above the highs. So I want to utilize that information to my advantage. So I'm going to be entering in against them, knowing that we're going with the flow of the river. The probability lies on our side, and we know that their stops are above, and we can push the market into their stop area. Then we've got a pretty good chance of getting a nice run through the highs for a little bit more follow through. So the entry here at 13,225, our stop is down at 13,17.5, and I'm looking for at least a 1-to-1, but given the scenario, going for a little bit more than that isn't necessarily a bad idea. If they are going to go counter break, and we know that there are going to be a lot of sellers who are going to get trapped out of the move, I want their stops to fuel a very large burst through the highs to stop them all out. So I'm looking for a run. Oh, no, I don't want to stop up there. I want my limit order up there. I'm looking for them to fuel a move up to a 2-to-1 target in this case because, just in the scenario that we're in, it makes more sense. So looking for the buyers to slam the market higher, stop all of the sellers out that are trying to go against this trend, and hopefully their stops will fuel a move up into our targets above, and that's what we're looking for at the moment. So we'll give the market a little bit of time here. It is still, it's been kind of a slow day. We're going on 11 o'clock, so lunchtime is starting to set in. The European session is starting to close up here in a little while, so it's kind of anticipated things move a little bit slower, but overall, we have a good potential for a move here. Now we just have to wait for the buyers to show up to the party and slam it up into those seller stops. All right, pushing heavily against those sellers. We hit their stops. This is exactly what we were looking for. Now, with this move up, I really want to see them finish the job relatively soon. And because we're so close, we're a tick away already, I want to make sure to reduce the risk here. And we're actually going to lock in a little bit on this one too. Because this slammed so aggressively higher, it couldn't even form a wick on the bottom. That shows that buyers were heavily vested into this move. And that means that we want to lock in underneath that point. Because if it comes all the way back there, we probably don't want to be in the trade anymore. So overall, one tick away from the target. The move did exactly what we were hoping it would do, going with that trend. Very important. We can't stress that enough. Stick with the trend. Even if you get the most beautiful setup in the world, in this case, gorgeous range, breaking down, doesn't matter. The probability still lies with the folks who own the trend, in this case, the buyers. So we stuck with that river, that flow of momentum, and that allowed us to carry in a 2-to-1 so far, or at least really close up into or near our objective at 33.25. Now, we haven't filled it yet, but it hasn't been that long either, so it could definitely get another pop through, especially with the magnet of resistance up at 13,355 just above. That would be the next area of interest. So we'll give the buyers a little more time here, see if they can pop through, finish the job, and get our target at 33.25 right around the corner. Tested it, no fill. Now they need to finish the job for sure. We already have the profit locked in, and again, when it tests your target like that, doesn't fill you, it's not a good idea to leave a bunch of risk on the table. So even if your stop was still below this low, on that test of your target, definitely should be considering locking that target or stop in to a profitable position. That way, you don't give anything back on the trade. We tested it, now we just need to fill it. We'll see if they can fill it here, and there we get the fill. Beautiful move up. It's exactly what we were looking for. It just took a little time to give us our fill. Overall, though, just a gorgeous example of staying with that trend. And that trend, as they always say, will be your friend. And in this case, we rode that kayak down the river all the way to the profit target. So that's going to do it for me. If you have any questions about it, feel free to send an email into School of Trade. Don't forget to check out our trial at schooloftrade.com. And as always, we'll catch you next time.